Welcome to the Jersey Baseball Nation YouTube channel. My name is Shaun Chornobroff, and I'm here with Mercer County College baseball coach Russ Stupienski. So, Coach, I mean, it's your first year at the program. I know you guys have had a little bit of a start, like as you were just telling me. But how are you doing today? You know, it's a nice Thursday afternoon, preparing for some baseball over the weekend. You feeling good?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. And yeah, I mean we're battling, we're grinding out games, and we're a little banged up in a few different ways. But we played well over the last 3 weeks. Kind of laid an egg the other day on Tuesday, but um, we're in a pretty good place going into this weekend. We're gonna have a light workout today. Get ready for Del Tech here tomorrow, and then we actually just moved our doubleheader from Saturday to Sunday down there because of the weather. So just getting our pitching lined up, hopefully for the next 3 games, and then right back in region Tuesday, Wednesday with Raritan. So we got a quick turnaround there. We're gonna try to do some things, whack up some games a little bit on the pitching side this weekend, the best we can, so that way we're in a good enough spot for the 3 games with Raritan, and then Bucks right after it Thursday over at Arm& Hammer Park in Trenton.
So, I guess just for background, just for our audience, this is your first year as head coach. You were a longtime assistant. You worked at the school from 2012 to 2017, then came back from 19 to, well, now. But this is your first year as a head coach. What's it like having your own show? What's the difference between, being the assistant, being the associate head coach, and the head coach?
Well, I mean, especially here, I mean, I'm doing everything, the fundraising, the recruiting. I have some good help here with the assistants I have, but just much more on the phone, recruiting, and then trying to move these guys here along to different places. So um, just the constant, more administrative side of it is the biggest difference. On the baseball side, I mean, and this is what everybody had told me coming in, that um, the guys, I mean, they still talk to me, but just not as much when you're the head coach as when you're an assistant. It just seems a little bit easier for guys to go to the assistants and talk, when just a little bit different, I guess, when you go to the head coach. But I'm in a good spot, I guess, because I'm still relatively young. I can still relate with some of these guys pretty good. Um, but I like to have a good time out there. I mean, we work hard, and I get after them pretty hard, but at the end of the day, I like to have a good time with it for the most part as well. But those have definitely been the two biggest differences. That, I mean, out there, the guys are just not as open to talk as they were as when you're an assistant. But starting to figure some of those things out, trying to get to those guys the same way I did as an assistant, but just in maybe a little bit different way as a head coach now.
So you were an assistant, like I just said, for 10 years, from 2012 to 2022, most with Mercer, a little bit of time over there with Limestone University down in South Carolina. Uh, what was that like? What has this last 10 years of like preparing, I guess, for this been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Kearns and Fred Corella were great to me here when I first started with Kevin, and then when I came back with Fred, with giving me a lot of freedom to be myself as a coach and coach these guys hard and push them hard. And um, they were their help was the biggest reason why this has been a pretty smooth transition, because they gave me the freedom to help them and be their right hand man for, I mean, those, yeah, 8 of those 10 years. And I got to see how they did things, and they were, I mean, I couldn't pick probably better mentors than them too, to follow for what they did here. The 2 years at Limestone, Chris Wiley was the head coach there. Again, he was awesome. Let me be myself, and bring what I need, bring myself to the table, and to that team as well, down there for those 2 years. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is home. This is where I like to be. This is where I want to be, and um, I have plans to be here a long time, and continue to go to the national tournament and be on a national stage, and we'll get our national championship hopefully at some point.
So you talked about obviously your mentors, right? You said 8 out of the 10 years. Yeah, you worked under Kearns for a while, and then you went to South Carolina, like we talked about. Why did you come back? What was the inspiration for returning back to Mercer County and taking and coming back to the baseball team?
Some of the things, I mean, I love Limestone. The facilities were awesome. The players were awesome. The guys I worked with were great. Um, they had JV, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. So um, at the end of the day, I always wanted to be here. I mean, this is where my friends are. My family's in North Carolina, but more family up here. I just like this area. I like this level of baseball, and I love Mercer County College. So I love the baseball program here. I love what we've built over the last 8-10 years, and hopefully what I can continue to build moving forward. It was a great experience going to Limestone. It really was, because it's a different. I mean, baseball down south is just different than it is up here. I mean, when you're down there in January and it's 60 degrees, January 10th, and you're outside and on green grass and dirt, it's a little bit nicer than that, than up here in January. But at the end of the day, this is where I want to be, and um, that's just kind of how that ended up working out.
I mean, yeah, I mean, January 10th here, we're probably in 22 degrees and you're probably freezing cold having those guys indoors, but look,
That's
whatever
right.
works for you.
That's right.
So as a player, right, you played at Mercer County for 2 years. You were the starting catcher, and then I also saw that you were the closer for a year here.
Yeah,
So how did that
I was
work
very
out?
fortunate here and at St. Peter's. I got to do a lot of pretty cool stuff. I mean, I caught a lot here. I did pitch, pretty much everywhere I went. It was, uh, everybody knew I could catch. I could swing it some, and but I threw pretty hard for my size and stature. I had some pretty good stuff. Everywhere I went, everybody tried to make me into a pitcher, but um, different reasons, injuries, people leaving for whatever reason, kept bringing me back to the plate. So, yeah, I mean, here we didn't have as many guys here. It was a little bit different time. I would catch 6, 7, 8 innings to get ready in my shin guards behind the dugout and go out and pitch the ninth inning and try to finish out games there. St. Peter's was the same kind of deal. I caught more there. They didn't let me close after I caught as much, but I still got to catch game one of a doubleheader and then start on the mound in game two at NJIT one day. So I thought that was a pretty cool day to have, where catch a 7 inning game, hit, and then go out there and throw. I think I went 4 innings or so, and threw pretty well that day. So um, that versatility. I played some infield here. I played some outfield at St. Peter's. I played some infield there too. That versatility has been a big deal for me in coaching, that I can kind of bounce around and help guys out in a different variety of places. For the most part here, I work with the pitchers, um, but I'm bouncing, talking to the catchers, work with the infielders some. So there's a lot of different ways that I can go about helping these guys, and that's been a huge help for me, getting to some of these guys here.
So do you think that's also something kind of unique that you bring to the table? I don't know how many coaches out there in college nowadays have, you know, pitched a game two of the doubleheader after catching 7, 8 innings in game one, and then I also have that wealth of experience in playing the other positions on the diamond.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge help. That, I mean, if I'm working with one of the pitchers, I can go talk to the middle infielders about their positioning and their footwork a little bit. I can talk with the hitters about their swings and whatnot, because I saw it from a catching side of it. I saw it looking from the other side on the pitching side. So, yeah, it gives me it's a big help, and it makes it easy to bounce around and help a lot of different people in one day, as opposed to just being working with the pitchers or just working with the hitters in that aspect. So there's guys that come to me in all kinds of random times, asking about swing, asking about positioning, or mechanics on the mound, or whatever that case may be. But I can usually help them out pretty good. But like I said, I have good assistants too, where I don't have to do it all. So I'm fortunate in that aspect. But I am able to bounce around in different ways, and I think it's a big deal as a head coach here.
And then what was that transition like to coaching from the playing side? Like I know it's always a weird time. I mean, for every kind of athlete, when you kind of got to hang it up. But what was that kind? Because it was a pretty immediate transition for you. It looked like I think you graduated from St. Peter's and came right over here and served on the staff. So you
It
were
was.
3 years old, pretty much. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I took an extra semester to graduate from St. Peter's, so I ended up graduating December of whatever the 2012 that was. So, yeah, I mean, that fall I was commuting from home to St. Peter's to finish, and I would go to class and then drive back and come here in the afternoon. So I started right away. But really, I mean, it started before that. I mean, my dad was big in Northern Burlington athletics, so Me, him, my brother, other people from the community ran clinics in December and January, February at Northern Burlington High School in the gym from when I was, I don't know, 10, 11 years old till I was 19, 20. So teaching the game has been a part of what I've been doing for a long time. And so, I mean, that helped. And then even when I was done playing Legion, after my last year playing Legion for Tom Dolan in Bordentown, he let me on his staff that next year when my brother was playing. So I was playing summer ball, but then I was also helping him and working with their pitchers and catchers in Legion. So even while I was still playing, I was still coaching and trying to help teach and help these guys. So it made it an easy transition. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to coach. I mean, that's kind of how I was here for 4 or 5 years before I went to Limestone. And at that point, it was time to try something else. I was only part-time here, and it's expensive to live in New Jersey. So I tried something else, moved to South Carolina for a full-time job. And I loved the baseball. I loved everything about it. But at the end of the day, this place pulled me back. And this is where, like I said, this is where I want to be. And led me back here and gave me this spot to be a head coach probably earlier than I would have if I would have stayed on that track down there. But I'm very fortunate to be here, and very fortunate to have the group of guys I do on this team. I got a great group, and they work hard, and I've been pushing them pretty hard, especially with some of the injuries and how thin we've gotten. But they've responded, and we're going to hopefully look forward to keeping it going.
Yeah. So in your time as an assistant, I know you've helped lead them to multiple regional championships, multiple runs to the the Junior College World Series, I guess. What are those runs like? I know you guys go out to Oklahoma. I'm sure it's a big thing, but what is that magic like for a team?
I mean, it's the goal every year, because there is in terms of junior college sports. I mean, if you go around, you see some of the places you play at here, rough grass and dirt all chewed up and holes in the boxes, mounds, all that kind of mess. And you play those 3 weeks in May or 2 weeks in May in the region tournament and the district to get there. And once you're there, I mean, that town of Enid is, I mean, it's a small area, but they put out they put on a show for the Division II Junior World Series, and it is awesome. I mean, a lot of people go to the games, night games, day games. It really doesn't matter. It's a great environment, a lot of people, and it's great baseball. The guys enjoy it. There's a ton of different stuff going on with the little league teams coming to help us out, and they take us and get food and all that kind of stuff. And just kind of being around and seeing that kind of baseball environment that you don't see every day around here is a big deal. And it's a special time. And last year's run was unbelievable, where we kind of backed ourselves into some tight corners here and there with some elimination games, but we had a tough group, and it was a really special run to see those guys do that last year. And even the same in 2014 with Phil Meyer, and after that with Peroni and DiPiazza. And then even after that, the year I left, I missed their next World Series run with DiPiazza, Brady, Peroni. And it's all about the guys here. I mean, we've done a pretty good job bringing in high caliber guys, not only talent wise, but people. And we've had some great kids here. And I mean, they make it how good it is. But it's always you never want to lose when you get into May, and it makes that run getting out to Oklahoma and taking the flight and then that big bus drive up, and you get from the middle of nothing, and then all of a sudden you see the lights, and it's a special moment just when you get there. And then let alone getting out on the field and taking infield, outfield, and that first pitch. And it's a fun environment, and hopefully we'll make many more trips back in the future.
And I'm sure that's your goal this year, but like you're talking about, you guys have kind of had a bumpy road to start the year. I think you guys started like 2-7, and then you just recently rattled off an 11-game win streak, which was just kind of recently broken. But what I guess was that switch that flipped? What changed in those 11 games?
Yeah, I mean, early in the season, I mean, this is a very, very I don't want to say young, but inexperienced group here. On the offense, the last year's group was a bunch of older guys who had been here through the COVID, and a lot of 21-year-old third-year guys here. And a lot of these guys who were here didn't get to play because some of those guys were really good players, and they had those spots, and they carried us. But this fall was a big learning curve where a lot of new faces that weren't even on the team last year. I looked out the first practice, we're going over bunt defense, and I was like, oh boy, nobody out there has any idea really what's going on except maybe our catcher and our second baseman. So it's been a lot of teaching all fall, and we struggled quite a bit in the fall. We struggled early here in the spring. UConn Avery Point came down here, and we ended their season last year, and they put it to us pretty good. The biggest difference, we walked a lot of guys. We made a lot of errors early in the season. We've kind of turned that around, but yeah, 2-7 start. We had a chance in Myrtle Beach right away, the first game to win our first game down there, and we kind of fell apart a little bit defensively, and they took advantage, and we lost the first game, and right there it kind of flipped. I mean, the Myrtle Beach trip's always a good trip for us. The guys get together, and they're together with each other for pretty much 7 straight days. So if you're going to come together as a team, that's the time to do it. And really, after that first loss, they came together and they fought, and that's kind of been the thing here. We ran off 11 in a row, and I tell them usually it's not pretty. It's not. We kick balls around sometimes, but we've limited that and come up with a lot of big hits in some big spots, and really it's just grind it out. Doesn't matter what the score is at the time. You got to keep on working and keep grinding. We had the 11 in a row. We had a nice doubleheader sweep of Hartford on Sunday. They're really good. We played pretty well that day and kind of just showed up at Salem Tuesday thinking we could roll it out there and get it done again. And that's not how baseball works. So we taught ourselves and hopefully learned a little lesson there on Tuesday. And we had a nice workout yesterday. We'll be short today, and we'll get after Del Tech tomorrow. But limiting the errors, I mean, basic baseball. Don't walk people, don't make errors, and you'll have a chance. And that's kind of where it's been. And if we do that, I think we'll be just fine. Hopefully we'll get a couple more guys back off injury here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and should put us in a pretty good spot moving into the last 3-4 weeks of the season and hopefully into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, considering, like you said, this is a team that had the capability to rattle off 11 wins, right? And how banged up you guys were. Does that give you like a lot of optimism when you look ahead, when you know you saw this, but this isn't even the full strength of the team?
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting out there looking at it right now. It's been pretty easy to write the lineup because there's just so many guys out. It's pretty much one guy at each spot with a couple guys behind him, and hopefully we'll get our center fielder Ciotti back sometime next week. Joe Domino, big left-hander, is working his way back, so hopefully he's back on the mound in about a week and a half in game. So Ryan Conover, our sidearm reliever, he broke his finger, so hopefully he's on his way back in about 2 weeks. And if we can get healthy enough for the last 3-4 weeks, it comes down to that weekend in May at the region tournament, and then the next week of the district. You never know. I mean, we got hot last year, mid-April or early April, and kind of carried it through all the way to the World Series. So hopefully we can kind of put something like that together here again, get hot and just roll through April and May. But easier said than done. So we'll see how we show up moving forward.
Yeah, I guess just to finish this off, my last question is, I know you talk about getting the national title. We talked about it before. I think you already mentioned it on here too. And I know something every coach I'm sure wants. What does it take to get there? What is the difference? What have you seen so far? I'm sure you've coached teams that had the capability to do it, come up a little bit short. What is the difference between those teams that come up just short and do it? And I guess how far away is this current crop you have from having that capability?
I mean, I think we're pretty close. I mean, we just showed we could, pretty much beat anybody. We also showed we could lose to anybody. But this team is different than last year. That last year we started launching balls out of the places, and I think this year is more of a rally offense type where we can string together singles, doubles. If somebody walks us, that's going to put them in trouble right away. We got some guys that can run. That's going to put pressure. I don't think this team's far away. I mean, we've thrown strikes. Brett Mutz has been outstanding. Dan Arrigo's been very good. Andrew Lusac out of the pen, very good. So, I mean, we have guys that can get it done. It's just going to be
we have to show up every single day, and that's what it's going to be. That's the difference. I mean, some of the teams may have more talent than us, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's still, you got to play together as a team to get through this in every aspect. You got to play well defensively together. Your pitching staff as a whole has to pitch, and you got to play team offense 1 through 9. And during that 11-game streak, we did a little bit of all that. And I think if we have to play clean baseball. If we play clean baseball, we'll be in games. And when you get to tournament time, if you're in the game, you never know what can happen. So we are close. We're gonna keep working to get there. And if this team gets hot, it can go as far as any team that we've had. So we're gonna keep pushing and keep working towards it. And we get healthy, we'll be in an even better spot than we are now. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, Coach. To all of you out there who are watching, remember to subscribe to Jersey Baseball Nation. And Coach, good luck this weekend, and hopefully we'll be watching you make a run back to Oklahoma this year.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Roll Vikes.
Have a great day.